Well, thank you very much, and it's an honor to be here representing my company, Telefonica. My job during the next 10 minutes is to explain to you why a telco company is interested in big data and why myself I'm doing my PhD on big data through telco. The first message that I would like to send you is that we are assisting to something that has never happened before in history. No other human generation has lived the thing that we are living in terms of the impact of the change of technology on our lives. And we have been trying to study that on long-term series of impact on GDP per capita of different technological revolutions during our history. And there is no other generation of human beings that is living the kind of change that we are living today. And this is just the starting point, because as you will see, this is just accelerating. The second message is that because of that, there is a drastic evolution on cycles. There is a reduction of cycles. For the telephone, for the fixed telephone, it took 75 years to reach 150 million customers or subscribers. For Angry Birds, it took 35 days. Globalization through networks is basically breaking all the rules. And you have there what is the impact of technologies like in the mainframe, the desktop internet, or mobile internet. But Internet of Things is going to be even shorter in the very short time. Third message, why is this happening? It's because of the Moore law that is making that every single year the price of a chip is decreased by half, and the power of the capacity of that chip in terms of storage and processing capacity is more than double. And that's why the prices are going down and the capacity of the different terminals is going up. You have some interesting data here, but the most important consequence of that is through smartphones. The smartphone that we carry in our pocket has much more computing power than the whole NASA in 1969 when a man was sent into the moon. And that's what the technological revolution is having. And that's why our lives are being digitalized as we speak. Our traditional lives are no longer, we can no longer understand them without the digital life that we are carrying in our pocket. And getting into data, the major impact of that is volume of data is growing roughly 50% year on year. The volume of data that we carry in our networks, the telecom companies are growing on that side. And this is data per month. And you have the projections for the next 6 years, because now we are just talking about penetration of human beings through smartphones, but now the Internet of everything is going to make that our clothes, our glasses, our gas meter, water meters, electrical meters, fridges, microwaves, cars, everything is going to be connected to Internet and will generate even more data. And therefore, if we have right now 6 billion people and things connected to Internet, we'll have 20 billion people and things connected to Internet in the next 4 years. And that's why the economy of platforms is changing everything. The largest accommodation company on earth has no single room, has no single building. Airbnb is worth much more than any other hotel chain. It's exactly the same on the food sector or on the car sector. The largest transportation company on earth is worth more than 3 times the accumulation of the other previous traditional companies. And this is the power of data, the power of computing, the power of processing. And this is also affecting our own industry, telecoms. WhatsApp is worth much more than the largest telco operator in Brazil that we own, Vivo. And WhatsApp has basically no revenues. So that means that every single company on earth needs to accommodate. And that means that data scientists, in order to understand the amount of data that is being generated, is needed. It's not just data scientists. It's also people that is able to present those kind of data in a comprehensive way in terms of consumers, in terms of decision makers. So it's not just data scientists, it's also about social science as a whole, in order to try to understand what is the relevant information that we can extract about the huge amount of data that we are going to be generating. So getting into a more specific detail, you have there the trends of trades, finance, moves, capital flows worldwide, and data. And therefore, you will see that now it is no longer possible to understand economy without the data flows through the networks. And you have there a picture, a world map of the different data flows between regions, which is, by the way, as I was telling you before, growing 50% year on year. You can no longer understand trade flows or capital flows without the data flows between the different companies. And you have some specific feature about the impacts. 10% increase in world GDP, $2.8 trillion. All the data that we can share with you are just mind-blowing. And then I will enter into some of the specific work that is doing around that. Professor Hosman and Professor Kosha, who is going to be presenting after that, has done the first very interesting move in order to prove that our lives are being digitalized through telco networks. You have there 2 maps of Colombia through the mobile network. One map is mobility, is how people move from one place physically to another. And the other map is about how the communication is established between different people in different regions. When you put one map on the other, they are totally isomorphic, which means that our lives are being digitalized. I have been inspired by Professor Hosman and Professor Kosha, and we have done the same in Spain, and this is right from the oven. I mean, it was prepared, finished last week. If you put the mobility graph of Spain with the mobile call graph, with the fixed line graph, they are totally isomorphic. And now we are going to add on top of that the social network behavior, which means that our lives are being totally digitalized through the smartphone, and they're going to be even more through the Internet of Things, through wearables, and through the connection of everything to Internet. And that's how it reflects in Spain. We are able now to predict how people behave in Spain, where they move, why they move there, and that's very useful for network planning, that's very useful for distribution purpose, but that's mostly useful, as you will see, for social policy, for public policy, because you understand much better what's going on from a socioeconomic standpoint once you have that kind of information. In order to prepare that, we are talking, I will get about 25 billion records analyzed in one single month from the mobility side, 1.5 billion records analyzed on the mobile side, and 230 million records on the wireline side. This is the amount of data that we generate in just one single month. Now, this is the part of my own investigation. I'm preparing my PhD, and I have the assumption, the thesis, that you can predict the trade balance of Spain from the mobile network, from the international outgoing network. And I took 49 months, 1.4 million of series, 67 million data for 3 years in a row, and on 70,000 corporations and SMEs. The volume is 1.2 terabytes, and I'm comparing that amount of data with the official statistics of Spain that is compared with 55,000 emails received 2 months after the end of a period in order to calculate the trade balance of Spain. The result is that the mobile outgoing calls are totally isomorphic with the trade balance. And we are able to calculate that with lag 0, which means that it is instantaneous. We have been doing the correlation, displacing or moving +1, +2, -1 in order to see if it is an anticipated indicator or an online indicator. It is an online indicator with a 91% correlation and an 87% for inputs. So that's just to tell you that if we move that forward into the macroeconomic space by sectors, we are able to predict where the sector, each sector of the economy of Spain is moving their attention. We know where construction is going, we know where textile is going, automotive is going, and we needed to stop here because the more you get into it, the more detailed the analysis becomes. And again, remember that this is just with mobile phones, and imagine what that can be when the Internet of Things will be there. So to stick to my 10 minutes, thank you very much.